Guys, welcome back. So today we are going to look at Saturn in Aries. So Saturn in Aries can feel like quite a tough one because you've got the planets of restriction sitting in the sign of action. So it's almost like your soul came here to learn how to take aligned action, not rushed action. And if you've got Saturn in Aries, you probably feel like you were born to lead, but life keeps making you prove it to yourself over and over and over again. So this placement isn't about slowing you down to punish you per se. It's kind of teaching you how to move with power, not panic. The themes that you'll recognize in your life would be learning to lead yourself without burning out or backing down. Aries energy is very bold, it's impulsive and it's instinct driven. Saturn doesn't vibe with that, unfortunately. It's slow, it's strategic, and it's structured. So when Saturn shows up in Aries, there's tension, okay? But that tension is, of course, where your growth lies. So what does this placement actually mean? This is a soul curriculum about mastering initiation. You're here to learn how to start with intention, not with impulse. You might doubt your instincts at first or swing between charging ahead and freezing up completely. Saturn in Aries asks you, can you trust yourself to act, not react? Can you be courageous without being reckless? There's often a fear of taking up space, even though deep down you know you're meant to lead. Anger, frustration, and ego wounds are common here, not because you're aggressive, but because you're learning how to express fire with maturity. Think sacred fire, not scattered sparks. So this placement teaches you inner authority. It teaches you to not wait for permission, but it also teaches you not to bulldoze yourself either. It teaches you healthy risk-taking, knowing when to leap and when to pause. It teaches you constructive independence, becoming your own safe place, not needing constant validation to move. The shadow patterns in Saturn and Aries are avoidance of responsibility, and sometimes it's easy to mask this as independence. Impatience with anything that doesn't move fast enough. You could have a very deep fear of failure, which becomes basically never fully committing. Pushing way too hard, and then you end up burnt out or injured, either emotionally or physically. And then another one is acting before you're ready to prove your worth. So I've got a couple of examples as to how this could show up in your real life. Perhaps you're the overthinker who struggles to start. So you may have a big idea, a dream project, or even something simple like changing a job. But instead of starting, you obsess, you research for months, you wait for the perfect time, or you doubt if you have what it takes and it never actually gets off the ground. That's Saturn in Aries. It's the fear of failing keeps you stuck in preparation mode instead of actually beginning. But Saturn says to you, your growth comes through doing it anyway, even if it's messy. Perhaps you are the person who's scared to take up space. Maybe you were told you were too much, or you were raised in an environment where standing up for yourself caused conflict. So now you downplay your opinions, second guess yourself in conversations, or let others take the lead, even when you feel frustrated. Saturn in Aries can show up as fear of asserting your right to exist as you are. But that's exactly what you're here to reclaim. You're here to reclaim your voice, your fire, and your boldness. Perhaps you're the hustler who burns out. On the flip side, some Saturn and Aries people swing the other way. They overcompensate by always being on. They take on too much, push themselves constantly, and never feel like they've done enough. Underneath that drive is usually a fear of being seen as lazy, weak, or irrelevant. Saturn's lesson is you're allowed to rest. Worth isn't something you earn by fighting non-stop. It's something you anchor through intention. So what Saturn in Aries is really trying to teach you is that you don't need to fight to prove your strength. You need to anchor into it. Saturn in Aries is an invitation to build more confidence and self-trust so you can become someone who knows when to act, when to pause, and how to create a life that feels meaningful from a place of clarity and grounded energy. A question for all of my Saturn in Aries babies to reflect on is, where are you still holding back in life? Where are you waiting for a sign, for a moment, or for someone to tell you it's okay to go after what you want? Because the actual shift begins the moment you decide to trust your own timing and give yourself permission to follow your heart. I'm sure you guys notice my dog in the background. Bless his little heart. Guys, I just want to thank you for being here. I hope that helped you in some way. Be kind to yourself. Keep going, and I will see you soon.